Hi everybody, and thank you so much for visiting my YouTube channel. On today's video, I'm going to be talking about my labor and delivery story. When I was pregnant, these were my favorite stories to watch because I was just so interested in what the process was going to be like. So if you want to hear the details, then please keep watching. Okay, so I recently moved to the Bay Area from Las Vegas, but I'm originally from Los Angeles. My boyfriend was going to be going to Las Vegas to get all of our stuff to bring it back, and of course I was too pregnant to want to join him. At this point I'm 36 weeks, so I think I have a whole month left. So he went to go get our stuff and he was going to be coming back the following morning. So the next morning on the 23rd, I was working overtime at my job. I work from home, and I started at 7 in the morning, and I just started to have like a dull pain in my stomach, but I kind of didn't really pay too much attention to it. But then the pain became increasingly sharp and strong. So I called my friend. She has 4 kids, and I was asking her, like, what do Braxton Hicks contractions feel like, because this hurts so bad. You know, they shouldn't hurt that bad, and they shouldn't be close together, you know, if they're just Braxton Hicks. So I drank some water, I tried to lie down, and the pain was too much for me to even try to go to sleep. I thought I was in labor. From what I heard about labor, it takes a very long time for the baby to come. I took a shower, and then when I got in the shower, I shaved, and I was just lollygagging, you know, and because I thought my labor was going to be very long. At this point, my contractions were so bad, like it was so painful. I was laying on the floor and my dog was looking at me like, "Are you okay?" But I couldn't breathe. Like, that's how bad it was. Like, the pain would completely go away, or it would just be the worst pain that I felt in my life. So I called my boyfriend at the time, and I was like, you need to get back here ASAP. He was like, I'm already on the road, I just left. For him to have just left, he was still about 5 or 6 hours away. I got in the car, and I was having contractions 10 minutes apart, and I was driving myself. Yes, I drove myself to the hospital. I was just so thankful that every time I did have one of those breathtaking contractions, that I was at a stoplight. Like, eerily, I was at a stoplight each time that I had a contraction. I'm just thinking that I'm in false labor. Like, I'm really not taking it that seriously. I know I'm having pains and they're 10 minutes apart, but I just wasn't expecting this to be it, because I've heard so many stories from my friends and my family where they thought that they were in labor and then they went to the hospital and they got sent home. So I just knew that I was getting sent home when I went to the hospital. I knew that I was getting sent home. So I pulled up and they put me in a wheelchair, and one of the nurses was like, you know what, you know, you look so good, you're small, you still have a whole nother month to go.
I'm just not really thinking that you have contractions.
So they hook me up to the machine, and sure enough, they see that I'm having contractions, which I could have told them because it was so painful. Okay, they came in and they told me that they're going to check to see if my cervix was dilated. So one of the hospital staff, I think it was a nurse, came in and stuck what felt like her whole hand up, you know, inside me to check to see if my cervix was dilated, and sure enough, I wasn't dilated at all. Okay, they hooked me up to a monitor, which was kind of like an ultrasound, and she's like, there's no amniotic fluid around the baby. When you have a baby, you know, the baby's in the sac, and there's amniotic fluid that fills the sac, and most of the time when you go into labor, that fluid spills out, which is called your water breaking, and then, you know, labor begins. My water did not break as far as I know. It could have possibly been a slow leak that I didn't notice, and this is very dangerous for the baby at this point. So one of the nurses told me, you know, we're gonna wait and see, you know, if the baby is moving, if the baby is practicing breathing. And she's like, if the baby is not moving or if the baby doesn't make this many movements in the next 30 minutes, then we're gonna have to take you to have a C-section. There was a million thoughts going through my head and none of them were good. So I just kept asking, is my baby gonna be okay? They just kept saying, you know, we have the best doctors, we have the best team, and we're gonna try our best. At this point, we're waiting for the baby to see if the baby is going to move. She was moving, so that was great, but not as much as they wanted her to. At this point, they're like, okay, we're gonna have to have the C-section. So I'm just like devastated at this point. Well, I'm not devastated because I want my baby to have the best chance and I don't care if that means a C-section, but I'm just terrified, nervous. Like, this is an unexpected thing for me. At this point, I'm trying to call my mom and I'm trying to call my boyfriend and let them know that I'm about to go into surgery and that the baby is coming now. So I was unable to reach my mom, but I was able to reach my boyfriend, and he was just giving me super positive vibes, which I appreciate him so much for. He's just like, we're about to have a baby, like everything's gonna be okay. And I'm just like, I don't know if everything is gonna be okay, and I'm just so nervous, and I'm by myself. As I'm getting the spinal, which I got a spinal instead of an epidural, and as I'm getting that in, my mom calls me, and I'm telling her exactly what's happened, and she's talking to the surgical staff, and they're like, okay, we're just gonna try our best. And at this point, I'm frazzled. So I'm not even thinking about anything. I can't even talk on the phone at this point. So they have me kind of bent over, like, you know, in a fetal position almost, and they do the spinal tap. And I'm thinking, okay, you know, I've heard so many stories about epidurals. I'm just not gonna feel this pain. I'm not gonna feel anything, you know, from what I've heard. And you know, they lay me down and there's a curtain in front of me, so I don't see anything that's going on. And you know, it's kind of it is an emergency, so they start right away. They get like the scalpel or whatever it is that they cut me open with, and they ask me like, do you feel this? And to me, it felt like, you know, one of these fake nails cutting on, you know, my skin. So I'm like, yes. Yes, I feel that. They're like, what? Like, do you feel this? Are you sure? So I tell them like, yes, I feel that. They're like, no, she just feels the pressure, because I guess I would have been dying, screaming out in pain had I felt what they were asking me what I had felt to go. So when I tell you that I felt everything, I felt everything. I felt everything except for the pain. But I felt extreme discomfort, okay? They didn't really wait for the thing to kick in. They just stuck it in me, you know, asked me if I felt that, which I kind of felt like I did. And once they got started, I felt a lot. So I felt them cutting me. I felt them like pulling everything apart. And I felt them like moving things around. I'm sorry, this might get a little graphic, but I felt them moving, you know, my insides around, and it felt so uncomfortable. And I was holding the hand of the nurse who was basically like my family for the day, and I was just like looking at her like, please, like, oh my, I didn't know it was gonna feel like this. I just wish that I would pass out already, honestly. So I felt the pressure. You know how if you're getting a tooth pulled, for instance, sometimes you don't really feel the pain, but you feel the pressure of them pulling out your tooth, and you know that that's what they're doing, is pulling out your tooth, and you feel them like pressuring, and you kind of feel your tooth come out, your wisdom tooth or whatever pop out. That's kind of what I could describe it as, except the tooth pulling is on a way lower scale. It was about 15 minutes of discomfort. The whole time I was just praying. I remember hearing, she's out, she's here. And then as soon as I heard that, I don't know if it was a subconscious thing, and I just let myself, but as soon as I heard like, she's out, she's here, I don't remember anything after that. So I think I was just waiting for a confirmation that the baby was gonna be okay. So once I did hear that, I passed out. They didn't put her on my chest or anything like that. So I just woke up in a recovery room. So when I woke up, no one was there, and the last memory is she's out. I didn't know if she was okay or if she wasn't okay. So someone finally came in, the nurse who was holding my hand the entire time. She's like, yes, she's okay. And I just like burst into tears because I was so relieved and happy. My nurse, she actually took my phone, like, do you want to see a picture? I'm like, yeah, I want to see a picture. So she goes and takes a picture of the baby and comes back, and then I'm just like completely shocked. How much did the baby weigh? And she's like, oh, your baby weighed 3 pounds. When I heard her say that number 3, I was just worried, like, what? 3 pounds? Because this whole entire pregnancy, I've been going to the doctor, I've been like doing everything that I need to do, and nobody told me that I was at risk for having a baby with low birth rate. Yeah, a low birth weight. Sorry, but no one told me I was at risk for having a baby with a low birth weight. So anyway, I'll show you a picture of what she looked like. Obviously this is very stressful for me. One of my boyfriend's friends came there just so that I could have someone there with me. He you know, has family and friends in the Bay Area, so even though he was still driving the U-Haul on the way back to the hospital, one of his friends did come to see me, and I was really shocked by it, but very appreciative. My boyfriend finally did make it there. He parked the U-Haul right in the front of the hospital with all of our stuff in it, and he was actually able to see the baby before me as well. So my family came, his friend came, and then he came, and all 3 parties were able to see my baby Kobe before I was. So for some reason they wanted to make sure that I was like able to like get up from the bed, even though once that nurse left, the other nurses just helped me into a wheelchair so that I can go down to the NICU to see my baby, which was about at 11 o'clock at night. And mind you, I had my baby around 2:30 in the afternoon. So I went that whole time with only seeing pictures or hearing about my baby because I was supposedly not strong enough to see her. Yeah, once I finally saw her, it was obviously love at first sight. She was just so tiny and it broke my heart, and I felt so guilty. I'm not gonna lie. There's probably nothing that I could have done differently. You know, I'm at peace with it now because she's doing fine now, and that's what I really want to stress, is that premature babies are so strong. We went through so much in the hospital. We stayed in the hospital until her due date, 4 weeks exactly. In between all of that, it was a lot of stuff going on with the blood sugar. She was anemic, and she had hypoglycemia, and she needed a blood transfusion. So yeah, that's my crazy birth story. My baby, she's doing so well today. She has caught up in weight way faster than they expected her to. She's just doing so good, and I'm personally just so proud of her. If you're worried about, you know, having a premature baby, you know, it is tough, but they do get through it. So I think that's pretty much the end of this video, and I thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you will see me in my next video, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will be talking about mom things, beauty, fashion, fitness, personal, professional life, just things that we all are dealing with. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.